All right, so this time we're going to talk about point slope format. We've already talked about standard form. We've talked about slope intercept form. So this time we're going to talk about point slope format. Okay, and so what that is it's actually more useful than it looks at first. But when we don't necessarily want to have a y-intercept or we don't have the y-intercept, we can use point slope form if we have any xy point on our graph and we know the slope. Or conversely, if we know those two things from an equation, we can graph the line. So what that looks like is y minus y1 equals, I am using my, okay, I thought I knew what it was, but I wanted to just double check before I write it down. Okay, so this is point slope form. And so our m is our slope, just like what we've been doing. The new thing here is that the x1, y1, that's an actual point that we know the coordinates of, okay? So we're going to replace those with numbers. We just need to put them in the right place. So here is an example, is if we had a line going through a point, and our point that we're going to use this time is 3, -5, and we have a slope of 11. How can we write that into point slope format? So the way that you want to do this is, you know, your m is slope. You're pretty familiar with that. This is your x1 and your y1. So you're going to put that into this formula exactly. So you're going to start with y, okay, right here, minus, okay, now we look for y1. Now y1 is a negative, so we're going to keep that negative. Okay, we'll talk about this in just a second. Equals, m is 11, x minus x1, and our x1 is 3. So let's come back here and let's talk about this. I have y minus a -5. Remember, a minus times a minus is a plus. So we're going to really have y plus 5 equals, we can distribute this 11, okay, 11x minus 33, okay? And if we wanted to, let me back up. Before I finish doing this, let me erase actually, because if you were just straight up putting it into point slope format, you can actually stop right here. You're in point slope format. You have your slope, the 11. You have your point, which is the +3, -5 that you've put into the right places, and you can just stop. Okay. Now I could convert that to slope intercept form if I wanted to. I can convert that to standard form because I'm familiar with algebra and we've been practicing those things. But if I am just asked to put it in point slope form, I'm done. I stop. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's do another example of this, just to make sure you're comfortable with that x1, y1 business, because that kind of takes a bit to get your head around. So here we go. We have a point, which is 13, -5, and we have a slope of 4.5. So again, we're going to start with our formula, y minus, okay, x1 is this, y1 is this, so -5. It's weird that we have two examples like that. M equals 4.5, x minus x1, and x1 is 13. Okay, so again, we're just going to clean this side up so that it's y plus 5 equals 4.5 times x minus 13. And we call ourselves geniuses because we can write things in point slope form and stop. Okay. Let me show you one more before I stop this video. Is what are you going to do if you're given 2 points? Okay, so you don't have the slope, but you are given 2 points. Well, we have a formula for slope. So I'm going to put that up here for you. The slope formula is this. Y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that's our slope formula. And so if we were given 2 points, we would have our x1, y1 and our x2, y2. We plug it into the formula. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's say we have a point 1, 1, and we have a point 7, 13. So our first job is find the slope. So m equals. So let's call this one x1, y1. We'll call this one x2, y2. We'll put it in the formula. So y2 is 13 minus y1 is 1 divided by x2 is 7, x1 is 1. So we have 12 over 6, which is also equal to 2. So now we have a slope and now we have a point. Now on this, I don't actually care which point you use. You can use the 1, 1, or you can use the 7, 13. Me personally, I would probably use this one because 1s are easier to deal with than 7s and 13. So that makes sense in my brain, but whatever makes sense in your brain is fine. So y minus, okay, y1, which is 1, equals m, which is 2, x minus x2, x1 is our formula. So we're going to find what x1 is. There we go. We're done. Point slope formula when we didn't even know the slope. So that's how you do these kinds of things. You definitely want to do some practice on this. And so this was example 5 and 6. Yeah, example 5 and 6. So make sure that you take a break and do those in your book.